has made me empowered, I believe. When I do mention I'm a veteran, and especially Marine Corps veteran, people kind of look back and think, oh, little old you. I'm like, oh yeah, little old me, but don't come by me and try me. It made me empowered. I feel like I have a lot to impart, especially to my two daughters, that they can do whatever they want to do. And just being a veteran alone has helped me to learn that about myself and also others as well.
Of course, it always gives you the discipline, but the best thing, I think, was the camaraderie, the lifelong friendships that you have. I have people all over the world I still correspond with, and people are the most important at the end of the day.
It gave me a lot of courage to do things that I never anticipated that I would be able to do.
But it did shape who I was. The Navy made me disciplined, of which I had zero discipline when I came in. It was a wonderful 22 years for me, and it has shaped the majority of the things that I do today.
I think that my service made me into an incredible person. I think it helped reinforce integrity and honor and duty, and I see myself as someone with a lot of integrity and a lot of honor and a huge sense of duty that I don't think I would have had I not been in the Army.
I believe that the single most important thing is it makes you much broader in your outlook. The world news means a lot to me, and our son was in the Marines and Navy as well and went to war. So I pay attention to the world news, makes me much more alert, and I treasure different cultures. I just love it.
I think the military gave me a very good sense of discipline. That was one of the reasons I joined. I also wanted to be independent, and I wanted adventure in my life. Being able to have the chance to work with other personalities and other people in different walks of life, coming from that little farm town that I did and intermingling with all kinds of people from various walks of life was very important for me to now be successful in the workforce and be able to be an influence in the community. And I think one of the things that the military definitely instilled in me was discipline and to be accepting of all walks of life.
I definitely came from having almost no self-confidence when I was in high school, going through being bullied and all kinds of other stuff, to really just finding myself, finding the discipline that I needed to go back and go to college, get my degree and get another degree and get another degree. And just really, it shaped me into being a self-confident person who's able to talk to other people, be a role model for other people, and really excel in a lot of different areas of my life, and brought me to the point where I'm at now, where I am successful and can now help other veterans, which is definitely a good place to be.
I've always been a people person, but being in the military, I can talk to anybody. But yeah, it's made me be able to speak almost on any subject.
Well, it's definitely made me a stronger person for everything that I've been through. Probably made me more sensitive to things that I wasn't necessarily sensitive to before. Now that I'm retired, things resonate a little bit more.
If I hadn't joined the military, I wouldn't have the friends that I have now. I wouldn't have the fortitude that I have now. For a long time, I worked mental health, and then I went with the school district, and I worked with students with mental health problems. And I wouldn't have been able to go in every day at work if I had built the mentality that this is just a job and I can leave anytime. Joining the military, it was a job, but you gave your all, and you didn't get to say, I'm done at the end of the day. So that's the approach I take to work.
It just made me more independent. And I think it just gave me lots of opportunities.
It made me very outspoken. It gave me a lot of guidance, a lot of strength, a lot of courage to just commit to like full on of what you want to do and go from there and never be afraid of anything.
It has shaped me completely. I was a rebel child. I was kind of a troublemaker, and then I always knew I wanted to go into the Army. So I graduated and got shipped off 3 months later, and it has changed my whole perspective on life. I have a better respect for my elders. I am more financially responsible. I have a great work ethic and a great head on my shoulders because of my military training.
Race problems are not really a problem to me personally, because you go to so many different countries, so many different areas that if you're going to achieve, you learn how to adapt. My military career taught me how to adapt to different people, different places, and different ways how I deal with stuff in life.
It showed me how to stand up for myself.
My military career gave me the discipline I was so severely lacking. I was an athlete and was in college and had that kind of discipline, but not self-discipline and not for really focusing on my career. And I think the military really gave me the structure and the discipline that I needed to get me where I am today.
Oh, wow. So I was a little spoiled growing up, and I think going into the military provided me with even more discipline than I grew up with around my mother. It was very humbling. It created an opportunity for me to think about others, especially when I was on the far stall, living in such close quarters with different people. And so I think it really helped me grow up and just have an appreciation for everything.
I'm much more assertive than I was prior to going in. I've learned to take things with a grain of salt and realizing that a lot of the trivial things we go through day to day just aren't worth the headache. I appreciate the military for what it taught me. And I think that it helps me to go through life on a daily basis in a much calmer state.
It matured me. It gave me a sense of self, how to, what was I going to do with my future. It allowed me to travel and experience things that I never thought I would do that in any other job if I stayed where I grew up.
I'm definitely more accepting and more expansive than I was before I went into the military.
And it just allowed me the opportunity to broaden my horizons and be something I never thought I would be.
It taught me to look at things with a different perspective and be very open-minded, because there are a lot of things that I was completely against.
I'm actually originally from New York, and so I enlisted a year after 9/11. I was 17 years old. My parents had to sign a waiver. And so definitely for any young woman coming into the military, take advantage, learn, grow, take advantage of the good leadership and learn from the bad leadership.
I was lost when I joined. I had gone through a divorce and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I had 2 children. I have always enjoyed being around the military people. There's a camaraderie there you will never ever find on the outside, and they will always have your back.
Camaraderie. I feel a service to my people, and that's part of what I do now with work is, helping to serve my community in the best way that I can.
I grew up in the military. I turned 18 in boot camp, so they raised me. They finished, the job that my parents didn't. Parents did to 18 and then they did the rest.
It shaped me in so many ways in terms of discipline and looking beyond the current situation and having the persistence and the grit to move forward regardless of the challenge that you're being faced with. So you learn how to work with people from all different backgrounds and all different walks of life, and you understand the challenges that they face because their walk wasn't your walk. And so your response to them may be different, but it was a great foundation for who I have become in my adult life.
Oh, it shaped who I am a lot. They allowed me so much latitude with patient care at the Naval Hospital of Pensacola in particular, and it was amazing. I got to do so many things that my counterparts would never get to do.
I always knew I would serve because my grandfather served, and it gave me a foundation of who I was. I'm not just a mom, I'm not just a woman, I'm an American soldier. I can do whatever I've set my mind to.
It's definitely made me a stronger person. I would say that I'm more daring but not dangerous, and more accepting of different cultures and different ideas because of where I've been in the military.
It shaped me into being a better person, honesty and integrity.
I used to be very shy. I've been on a platform where I've been in leadership roles, so it helped me to bring that out.
I needed some discipline. So that way, and then I traveled. I've been all over. It's just been it kind of expanded my vision, my horizons.
It definitely made me a survivor. There's not much that my 4 children can't throw at me that I'm like, okay, this is nothing, let's go.
I guess I'm pretty conservative. As a result, pretty law-abiding because you have to stay in line. Very patriotic, loyalty, all of that, and leadership. You get great leadership experience. So other jobs that I've had since retiring, it's been helpful to have that Navy leadership experience.
There's a pride, there's a sense of drive and determination that was just instilled at me at a young age, and so nothing that I wanted was ever unachievable.
Well, I'm in the counseling field, so I feel that when veterans come to me, especially when they're just now getting out of the service, I provide them the guidance they need to make that smooth transition from the military sector over to the civilian workforce.
All the experiences I had made me a better person, a more well-rounded person, and I wouldn't change it for the world, even with the bad.
Well, it gave me discipline. I acquired lifelong friends.
Vietnam gave me experiences I never would have had otherwise.
I don't know where I would be if I hadn't joined the Navy because I'm originally from Mobile, down the street, and a lot of my high school friends are still at home doing the same things and whatnot, but it has helped me to just develop and become into my own, just being able to see a lot of different things, go to a lot of different places, and meet different people, a lot of different backgrounds and views. I can't even recognize myself sometimes from where I first came from.
I learned a lot about people and how to open up to people later on in life.
It made me more disciplined, it made me self-sufficient, and it made me a stronger female.
It had me open up my eyes to different cultures, different people. I learned several languages, which I never thought I would do. It just made me a more accepting person.
I grew up because I was the baby in the family. And so when I got in, I had to grow up fast. And I did.
Oh, big time. I graduated from a hospital school of nursing, a 3-year program. The Navy sent me back for my bachelor's degree and for my master's degree. And the Navy has allowed me to do different things that I would never do in the civilian world.
As a brand new graduate right out of school, I was caring for Vietnam amputees. And that made me realize that there's always someone in worse shape than you are. It was probably the most important lesson I learned.
I'm a lot more goal-oriented. I'm a lot more driven. It's opened a lot of doors for me to travel the world. Job-wise, once people see that I'm a veteran, they place you a little bit on a higher level, and I feel that it has worked out in my favor.
Well, it made me really understand me, and what I do now is I just teach people to own their power. I do PTSD work, post-traumatic stress, so I have a lot of veterans that way.
It's made me a very confident woman, and it's made me very wise in the world. I've traveled all over the world, and it is eye-opening and very humbling to see how other cultures live, how they perceive us, how we treat each other.
It probably had 100% of who I am, and really just gave me confidence. That's the biggest thing I got out of the service.
It made me a lot physically stronger, and after that it made me a lot mentally stronger too. Some of the adversity things, getting over that took a lot more mental toughness than I had ever thought that I needed.
I went in as a young, unexperienced, very naive girl, and I came out as a woman, very strong. And I have the Navy to thank for that.
A lot of me is still the military. It's still a lot how I was raised, but it was shaped in a way to respect and be there for people like I didn't understand when I was young.
It did teach me that there are a lot of double standards in this world, unfortunately, but how to kind of work with them and around them when you need to, and how not to give up.
I'm a lot stronger than I ever thought I would be.
Everything that I did made me stronger, no matter how hard it was, I made it through and I'm a stronger person for it.
I think discipline and being overseas and just being able to work with different people, perseverance, and sometimes having to work 12-hour shifts wearing full chem gear teaches you not only discipline but teaches you how much resilience you really do have.
My military career has shaped my work ethic the most, I believe. I give props to my father, who also served in the Army. But overall, my work ethic, I believe I can 100% give that to the Marine Corps.
Everything that I learned in the military, the way I learned to think, the way that I learned to respond, the choices that I made in how I responded were all shaped by what I did in the military, and that all served me very well in corporate America.
Well, I think it makes you a strong person. You become a good leader. I think you're an excellent role model for your children. I think, it's very stressful on the family to move as much as you do, but it makes you very adaptive. And I think it makes your kids good critical thinkers, and they deal with stress a little bit better than maybe if they hadn't been in a military family.
You get to see all walks of life being in the military, so I think it gives you a worldliness that you wouldn't get normally. But also, I think the biggest thing for me was it gives me compassion and empathy that I have not had I not had the experiences in the military.
It gave me my voice. Most people won't believe that if they know me personally, that growing up I didn't say much. The military helped me find who I am today. That person that can be loud, somewhat argumentative. I don't take no, but it reminded me that God put something in each of us and that we should always dig deep to find out who we are.
I became very independent and very headstrong, so I pretty much kind of know what I want and make up my mind, and then I just go and do it.
It got me out of my little tiny town in Pennsylvania, and it showed me the United States. It introduced me to my husband and my family, and now my boys are thinking of serving in the military. It's a big part of my life.
Well, I started out in communications with submarines, and then I converted over to legalman working with JAG officers. So I feel that experience working with the JAG officers kind of shaped me into the perfectionist that I am and everything, but it makes me feel like I can give advice to other veterans that will help them in their life.
Well, I started out a military brat, so my dad taught me respect, and then I went as a little wild child, and then the military taught me to reel it back in. I think it helped me just mature and become a new part of the who that I am now.
Well, as a medic, it was my really, truly first introduction into medicine. Gained a great deal of respect for the human body, which I still, to this day, have great respect for and still work with.
Appreciate the family more, the family life.
I was shaped by a lot of my leaders. I'm also, I was a young mother when I first joined, but I spent a lot of time on ships, and I was just lucky to have worked for a lot of good leadership and get a lot of good training while I was out there. And it all gave me a meaning of self-worth.
Being that I went in at 18, it turned me into a little young lady because I had to be independent so early. Even though when you're on a ship, you have such a big family, but I really had to grow up.
It definitely shaped me, and I also, the time that I was in, I got injured. I suffered a traumatic brain injury. So the time that I was in the military really changed me. I got opportunity to grow up, matured quite a bit. But because of the circumstances that took place when I was in, it definitely altered my life. But now looking back, at the time, it was a great struggle to go through all the recovery and everything. But now looking back, I think I definitely would not do anything different. And I'm so proud to, be a Marine, to be a woman veteran, and everything that the military has done for me as well.
It definitely made me much more interdependent, in the sense that I went in as an officer, so I knew that a lot of my role was going to be looking after and taking care of others and not just myself. And I also had the guidance from my father. My dad was a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, so he always guided me that my role as an officer is to look after other people. So I definitely grew as a leader in the military for sure.
It made me like a more responsible person, a better mom, you know, because I did it for my kids. It made me want to give back more. So that's why part of the reason I'm home too. So it made me think of somebody other than myself.
It made me find my voice, being a leader, because I don't look like what I've been through. So I had a pretty rough childhood growing up. So I went into the military to kind of escape that. And it forces you into roles that you wouldn't have otherwise had. It made me realize that I am not my zip code, as they say. I'm not my zip code, and I can shape my future.
Oh no, hon, I was shaped at 42. I'm the same lady as I went in.
Well, definitely gave me some writing skills because I was an NCO when I retired, which has helped me in my grant writing process for the program. But I would say that it's made me appreciate the little things, buddy. Family. You know, when you're deployed, you don't have that house, you don't have those objects. You learn that the most important thing is that person on the other end of the phone.